you're going to roll this vision of yours out for the world to see. So be bold when you do. Good evening and welcome to the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. We are in the process of closing out our 2021 season, and we are working with the text Vivid Vision by Cameron Herold. This is a really powerful write-up on how to build a vision that, one, that you can accomplish, but two, that helps you enroll people in the process. A couple of housekeeping things. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and like the video and leave a comment. And if this is whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. And then also, I want to let you know that this session and the one on the 15th, which is a Wednesday, is our last session for the year. I had to move the night. I had the unfortunate scheduling conflict, and rather than push another week, we're going to meet on the 15th instead of the 16th, and that will be our last class for 2021. But I will tell you, I have a new course coming in the fall, different from the Bible Hangout. This is a private course called Manifesting Money. I'm really excited about it. You're going to start seeing things on social about it in your email inbox. And so I just want you to look out for that. If you have been looking for ways to increase your resources, this is a class that you do not want to miss. So that's all I'll say about that right now, but more is to come. Let me check in with everybody. Robin, how are you? Constance, how are you doing?
All is well in my world.
All is well?
Yes.
Great.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. Any insights, anything that has come out of your study of this vivid vision?
Commitment is needed.
Okay, what makes you say that?
I believe without commitment, there's no growth.
Mm-hmm.
And with the intention to do it regularly, and not a fly-by-night, let's get rich scheme, but a commitment is needed to do it on a regular basis so that it becomes, a habit. Yeah.
For me, the biggest part has been actually focusing on building the vision, like building one that is big enough, not limiting it, and then actually making it something that I can actually see to make it kind of real for me. Because like when I was reading last night about how it's talking about sell it to your internal staff first, and I know like I don't have an internal staff, so it's really like sell it to me, make sure that I'm all bought in. Yes. Make sure that there's no part of me that's like, I don't believe that, like tell them to go find another job type thing. So that's the part that I'm trying to just get my head around, the vision part. Sure. So that the rest can flow.
Okay. All right, good. Well, that's a good place to start tonight. And we're going to talk about that because it is about rolling the vision out. And so, and I'm glad you said that about that, if you're a person, you're one, right? And how do you sell yourself on the vision? So that's where we'll get to tonight. So I'll try to focus it so that even though it's talking about company stuff, that we'll look at it from the perspective of how do you apply this personally to yourself. Cool. All right, wonderful. There we go. Okay. How to get it right. All right, so we are on part 3. We're doing this in 4 parts, and we're covering part 3 tonight. And so we're on how to roll it out. And what he opens right up in, this is chapter 7, where he says, you're going to roll this vision of yours out for the world to see. So be bold when you do. So, I know that there are different schools of thought around, do you talk about it? Do you keep it to yourself? So this is how I think about when you talk about it and whether you talk about it. The question is it ready to be talked about? Have you gotten to the place where you believe it? If you're not at the place where you believe it, then it's very hard to get somebody else into believing in your vision. So when you're deciding whether or not to talk about it, the question to answer is, where is my level of belief? Is my level of belief extremely high? Is my level of belief somewhere middling? Or is my belief very low? And if I'm anywhere from low to middling, that's probably not the time to talk about the vision. What you want is you want to be able to hold to your conviction regardless of what is happening outside of you. And so that's kind of your gauge as to whether or not you're ready to talk about this vision. But before you do anything, you have to sell it to yourself. And he says in the second paragraph on page 77, when others read your vivid vision, they need to experience a moment of awe and wonder. If their jaws don't drop a little bit, you need to think bigger. Small, safe, calculated plans don't inspire. And so this is true for you, that you're not looking to put together a small, safe plan. You almost have to ask, what am I here for if all I'm going to do is play it safe? And maybe that's a place to drill down, is to realize that you were not put on earth to play it safe. You were put on earth to go big. How do you know that, Sherri? Well, how the Spirit does anything is how the Spirit does everything. And so you can look at the vastness of this universe, that just when you just go and stand and look at the ocean, when you look at just the variety of life on the planet, nothing that the Spirit does is small. And that absent the interference of humankind, God is lavish, unfailing abundance. And so either you've got to say, well, I have a God that changes when it gets to me, or you can say, no, nothing about God changes. God is the same before, now, and always. And so therefore, the only thing that would impair the flow of Spirit through me in a grand and lavish way would be something that's going on up here. And so the rolling out the vision needs to be big. The vision needs to be bigger than where you are. You know, it has to be something greater that you are hoping for than simply what you have right now. Otherwise, what is there to hang on to? I don't know. Any thoughts about that? Where you at?
It makes me think of children. Like when you ask children, what do you want to be or what do you want to do? And like I have a friend, she has a 6-year-old daughter, and her daughter's like, I'm going to have 100 babies, you know, and that's big, you know, it's big for her. I mean, it's a big thing, right? Right. And no matter, even though her father was like, you can't technically have 100 babies, she didn't care. She was like, no, that's what I'm going to do. And that's the type of conviction that came to mind when you were just talking about that, is that she was ready to share because she's like, I'm not trying to hear what you're trying to say. I'm going to have 100 babies. and that's just how it's going to work. And so, yeah, so that's what it makes me think about how children just know, you know, they don't know what their limitations are. So they just dream big, and they go for it in the little way that they know how to go for it, you know, like they actually try to pursue it. So, yeah.
I think that's just it. And I think that that's why, you know, the Jesus talks about become like a little child, because you have to have that childlike faith that I'm not trying to be practical. I'm not trying to make decisions where they're reasonable. I'm not looking for reasonable. What I'm looking for is, what does my heart say? My heart says 100 babies. And you know, who knows how that's going to play out in her adult life? You know, that could be her supporting, you know, children that are in the foster care system. Who knows how that's going to play out? But the idea is there.
Mhm.
And so, you know, our work then is to get out of the way, but to get out of the way of spirit flowing through us. The vision and fleshing out this vision is that the reason that it's so important is that we've spent so much time on the pathway to adulthood, learning to dream smaller and smaller and smaller.
Mhm.
And so this is in some ways a mechanical exercise. Yeah, a child, you wouldn't need to, like you said, you wouldn't need to tell a child to do this. A child knows to dream big. A child, you know, if I ask Jordan what he wants to do, he wants to be an astronaut. He wants to be a fireman and a unicorn in no particular order, like any one of those things, you know, but in his mind, all of them are going to work out because that's what he dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
And so, but as we get to adulthood, we're busy trying to be reasonable, and we're almost killing ourselves trying to be reasonable. We're killing the spirit in us trying to be reasonable. And so this exercise of the vivid vision is for the purpose of reawakening that. They're just pulling that lid off so that we can dream a bigger dream or allow a bigger dream to be dreamed through us. He says on page 79, he said, you'll begin with an internal rollout. This involves sharing your vivid vision with all of your employees, all of your board members, and anyone inside the walls of the company. You want to start with this group to ensure that everyone on the team really understands and is excited about the vivid vision. You want them to touch it, to feel it, to breathe it before you take it to a bigger audience on the outside. So one of the things that can look like is when you get your vivid vision written, and really you're going for maybe 3 to 4 pages, you know, meaning you're trying to, you know, bring it down to a single page document is even better. But you want it to be with the most captivating language possible. And your internal rollout, what that can look like is every morning getting in front of the mirror and reading the vivid vision aloud. There's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's one of my favorite quotes. I'm going to misquote it because I realize that I learned it wrongly and I've been misquoting it ever since, but you'll get the gist of it. He says, every man carries an indication of his rank in his own eye. And that, again, that's not it exactly. That's how I memorized it. And then I realized you made up your own quote. That wasn't him. But you know it because you can look at, you know, when you walk into a room, you know who's the alpha in the room, you know who's the beta in the room, you know who's trying to be the wallflower and hide in the back, you know who's trying to scurry for power, you know, and it's in the eye. You know, it's in the eyes of the person, and it's so interesting to observe that. And when someone is confident, you can see it in their eye. You can see the look that's in their eye. The power of getting in the mirror and reading your vivid vision to yourself and doing this, you know, I love the 30-day my way to everything. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, is that you will change the look in your own eye. And what I do is I gamify it. So I have a little checkbox. I every morning did I get in there and do, I call it my morning commercial. Did I do my morning commercial? Check, I did it. And you watch like how you look through your eyes literally changes. That what we call that eye of the tiger, that drive, that reach for, that internal reach for success, that belief that you can have as far as you can see, is cultivated. And it's cultivated by what you say to you on a daily basis. And so that's a really simple way that you can begin to sell yourself on the vision. The other thing to realize about belief is that belief, people think of belief as fixed, like I believe this or I don't believe it. But the more you look at a thing, your belief begins to form around it. And you begin to develop a belief in it. So just the act of working with your vision on a daily basis, reading through it, thinking about it, journaling about it, is going to begin to shift the level of belief that you have for it. And you will know, you will reach a point where it's like a click inside of you where 1 minute I didn't believe it, and now I can't imagine not believing it. So it's that daily revisiting it, that daily coming to it, that begins to change how you feel about it and change your level of confidence in it. How does that sound to you guys? Does that sound doable?
Yeah.
Good, good. He says on page 80, he says, after the group has read through the pages, you want each employee to circle any of the sentences or phrases that most excite or inspire them. Ask them to share their thoughts with the group. So what this exercise looks like when it's just you, when there's not a company, let's say, that you're rolling it out to, is that you want to set aside some time in your day on a regular basis. I love things that we do every day. I find that if I have a habit that I'm trying to do on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, or Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or Saturday, it doesn't get done. It's either, for me, I found that it's either every day in a bite size, or it's no day any size. Mm-hmm. So if every day for 10 minutes, you take a portion of the vision and you just look at it and begin to journal about it. There's something powerful about journaling where you begin to, sometimes you don't know what you think until you write it out. And just the simple act of writing out in your journal will begin to awaken ideas and thoughts that you didn't have when you wrote it will occur to you in the moment that you're just kind of thinking about it and journaling about it. And the journaling is an invitation for fresh ideas about the vision that you have written. And this is a simple way that you can, again, begin to build belief. That's what I wanted to say about belief. Belief is built. So we think of belief as like a fixed thing that you believe it or you don't. Are you a believer or are you not? But the truth is that belief is built, and belief is built through familiarity. Belief is built through constantly looking at a thing. And the more you look at it, the more you begin to see it. And so this daily time with your vivid vision it literally builds your belief in it. And this is what can get you to the place where you no longer have that trepidation about, do I keep this to myself because I don't want anybody to crap on it? That you can build belief to the point that no one would crap on it because your belief in it is so strong. Have you ever met that person that their ideas are so wild and so crazy, but their belief in it is so strong that you wouldn't dare tell them otherwise? Mm-hmm. You know, had somebody like that that's like, well, I'm gonna just let them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just sip the tea over. I don't believe what they're saying, but they are so married to it that I wouldn't dare run interference. Not because I don't want to discourage them, but because I can see that they are already down the road with this one. Mm-hmm. I have a friend like that who is, I can't say this exactly, but this person is on the other side as far as belief in terms of just, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Because if I said it, then the person would know I was talking about them. So I'm not going to do that. But my point is that this person is so strong in their belief, even though when I listen to what they're saying, I'm thinking, oh my God, this sounds so unreal to me. Like I don't believe it, and I can't even pretend to believe it. I can't, sometimes you can be in a conversation, you go, I can't even do that. The whole time I'm thinking, this is so crazy. Like, does this person hear themselves? But the person is so convinced that I'm gonna let you run with it. It's like, we used to say down south, I'm gonna let you make it. Like, just you think that cake is gonna bake, I'm gonna let you make it. Like, just go right ahead. And I'm saying that as you live with this vision on a daily basis, as you come to it and journal about it and think about it and pray about it and meditate on it, that what you will end up doing is building that belief that no one can knock you off of it. And so it won't be a matter of, is this too early for me to share with someone? It won't even occur to you because you won't even care. That's the level of belief that you can get to.
And won't you also be changing your vibration to the point that life will just begin to move around you to kind of, it's kind of like, it makes me think of like charging a magnet. Like you begin to charge this magnet and it gets stronger and stronger. And that's why you eventually get to the point to where you can say it, because your magnet has gotten charged up. So
that's it exactly. That daily visit with the vivid vision charges the magnet. Mm-hmm. That's it. So glad you said that. That's exactly it. That daily visit opens you up and connects you to it and just revs up that energy inside of you for it. And the truth is that that's what we did with everything in our experience. That's what we did in our professional careers. Mm-hmm. We're a magnet now for the things that we do professionally, but it's because we built up that energy where we sat down and did something about it every day in the form of a job. Mm-hmm. 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 Good. Awesome. All right. He says on page 81, bear in mind, and I know I keep repeating this, that your journey is 3 years long. Each new quarter, you will want to break out the vivid vision again and reread it. Open it as a Word document and highlight in green any of the sentences that have come true since the last quarter. Then highlight in yellow any of the sentences you're currently working on. So again, this is a living document that you're working with, and you're continually coming back to it, but also building in that every quarter that you are sitting down and looking at your progress. So the daily basis is so that you can build belief in it. The quarterly progress is so that you can assess, what have I accomplished? How much closer am I to the things that I have in my vivid vision? So I'm looking at each quarter as an opportunity to retool. I'm looking at each quarter as an opportunity to refine my work on the vision, because you may have different parts of the vision that in one quarter, one part of the vision moves forward, but in another quarter, that part stalls. And so then your attention shifts and then things begin to move in another direction. And so it's like this ebb and this flow. It's almost like a living organism, and where different parts are growing at different rates. One of the things that I'd like to say is that the spirit knows the most intelligent way that everything is supposed to be put together. We see things in a linear way. I'm at point A, I want to get to point B, and I want to take that straight line. But the straight line may bring down the whole house of cards, right? The straight line may actually create damage in my experience. But there may be things that I need to learn on the way from A to B that will make me a better receptor, make B a lasting expression in my life. I'm not interested in being a one-hit wonder. I'm not interested in having my good, but only having it for a little while. I want my good as a lasting lifetime experience. So It may be that what I thought was a straight line path actually has some zigs and some zags where I'm picking up some lessons that are going to serve me when I'm ultimately sitting in the place that I desire to be. Any thoughts about that? I feel like you were going to say something, Robin.
No, I was just stretching.
Mm-hmm. So this quarterly review, what I am learning in the work that I'm doing is that concentrating on a thing beyond 90 days is really tough. And so you want to build your year in 90-day increments where you revisit what you did in the last quarter and look ahead to what you want to accomplish in the next quarter. Mm-hmm. And it's something about that 180 days that's just too far. It's a bridge too far. But 90 days I can think about. Like right now, we're sitting at December 2nd, 2021. I can think ahead to, what is it, February 2nd, 2022. That doesn't seem that far. Right? In fact, there are things that are happening at the end of January that we've got going on at a church that I'm working on right now in terms of preparation. So I can think until February 2nd, 2022. That's not that far into the future, right? But with, and I'm saying February 2nd, really March 2nd, but whatever, the point is I can think about it.
Oh, it's following you.
Yeah, not 60 days, not. But the point is that it's not so far into the future that I can't imagine it. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes when we make plans, and this is partly why New Year's resolutions fall apart, is because that 1 year time frame is just too far for the mind to hold on to an idea. Mm-hmm. And so if you train yourself to work in 90-day chunks, mm-hmm. and then you put on the calendar and honor what you put on the calendar, time apart, to think about what happened in the last 90 days and to make plans for the next 90 days, then what you will find is that it is very easy to stay present to the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to stay present to them. He says on page 82, if you have been bold enough in your ideas, this will have two effects. It will attract and repel others. Notice I said it will attract and repel, not or. Your vivid vision should behave like a magnet, drawing some people in and pushing others, hopefully not too many, away. If your scope is too small, too milquetoast, or too watered down, or if everyone likes it, no one will love it. If this is the case, you have failed. You are looking for a vision that makes you uncomfortable. If it doesn't make you uncomfortable, it's not yet the vision. That means that there's some further reaching that has to be done.
Uncomfortable, but excited.
Uncomfortable, but excited. So let me ask you, and is there what is the area of your vision? If you can share any part of it, what is the area of your vision that makes you uncomfortable?
The area of my vision that always makes me uncomfortable is the fear of failure, right? Like that, because I think the vision that I had spoken about before was like being a teacher on a big stage. So like failing in front of a big audience, you know, or like tripping across the stage or tripping as you're walking up the stage or forgetting what you're going to say, like all of those things, I think is the thing that's the scary part, you know?
Got it. Constance, what about you? What part of your vision makes you uncomfortable?
I believe it's just along the same lines, failure, stepping out and knowing that I can be a blessing, but just having that fear that I will not be successful in doing what I really desire.
Do you guys familiar with Revelation 3:16? Revelation 3:16 says, "So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spit you out of my mouth." And that verse, I remember when I learned it in teacher training, and it was such a powerful verse because the whole idea is that I want to be so on fire. Like I don't want to be on the fence. Because what happens when you are not on either end is that it's almost like you help people make a decision about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to be so you that either you love me or I don't work for you. Like, you know, and we use the example of Kanye West previously, that you know where you stand with Kanye West. He makes you make a decision about him.
Right.
You know, and so you want to be so you that you make people make a decision about you, make them say something.
Yeah.
You know, make them feel something.
Right.
Right. And so this is the same thing with the vision. It's that you want the vision to be so vivid, meaning that you can taste it, touch it, feel it, smell it, hear it, that you can experience it even before it's here, that people either raise their hand to check in or they raise their hand to tap out. But they're not just sitting there just kind of, oh, I want to see what happens. I want it to be so good that you got to decide. You got to decide, do you want where I'm going? He said, had Apple tried to make everybody happy, I'm on page 83, had Apple tried to make everybody happy when it designed the revolutionary phone, they would have simply made a more polished version of the existing BlackBerry. And I don't know about you guys, but I was a BlackBerry person. And so I couldn't even imagine getting an iPhone. One, the price was ridiculous. So I was just like, why would I spend all of this to get this iPhone? I can't even imagine not having an iPhone right now. In fact, people who have Androids, I kind of give them the side eye. Like if I'm just being honest, no shade to any of my Android users, but I kind of like, how could you not want to be a part of this ecosystem? Like, it's so awesome to be able to share documents and the stuff that we're able to do. You can't do any of that with Android. Meaning back and forth, you can share documents with yourself. You know, my computer, I can upload things from my phone. I can like drop it on my computer with like no effort. Like, and so, but as passionate as I feel about my Apple iPhone right now, I felt that way about the Motorola BlackBerry. So I couldn't even imagine. And I know other people who felt that way. They were BlackBerry fiends. And there were companies that even when iPhone was hitting, they were keeping their employees with BlackBerries, as the people would have their iPhone personal and then they have their BlackBerry professional phone, right? And he writes, Apple's boldness in vision is what you should strive for if you want to inspire people. And remember, there will be backlash. After all, the future is scary to people who have become too comfortable in the present. My teacher, Reverend Mary Tumpkin, one of the things that I love to hear her say, and she would say it often, God did not put you here to keep the status quo. And she would say that in sermons, she would say that at different times. And what I got from that is that spirit never repeats itself, ever. There are no two people that are alike. When you think about the fact that of the probably trillions of people that have been on the planet, and the even more, the billions that are here now, and the even more that are to come, that no two of them is alike. No two of them has the same gift mix. No two snowflakes are alike. God does not repeat itself. So, therefore, You are not here to keep the status quo. You are not here. You've never been here to do what has never been done. You are here to do what is unique. And what is unique can be scary, but we have some techniques for moving through the fear. Because the truth is that you got to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, and you got to feel like the thing that, like I was talking about, the thing that I'm wrapping my head around is the vision part, right? And the first part is breaking through the fear of even dreaming big. And what is unfolding for me is the fact that that fear is like a paper tiger. Like what is it that you're actually afraid of? So it's like I find myself having the ability to give myself more license to dream bigger. Because sometimes that fear, like you were talking about before, about how we're conditioned as we grow older to be as reasonable as possible. And I, like you, was a electrical engineering major. And so logic, you know, and so just breaking free of that has been quite an experience.
Yes.
I'm enjoying the experience.
Yes. I just wrote in my book, hey, girl, you good. You're going to be a good teacher. I wrote, fear is a paper tiger. That's it. Because that's a metaphor. And that brings together to mind a picture. You know, we've all seen that. It's the wizard behind the curtain. And, you know, and it sounds big and it sounds grand. And then you move the curtain, you're like, oh, this is what I was afraid of. This is what I put so much stock into.
Right. Yeah.
Well, listen, you know, I'm here to be your cheerleader, to remind you that, yes, you are supposed to be as amazingly grand as you imagine yourself to be. And I see it for you because I know that it's there. I know that I know that like attracts like, right? So it's trusting. And I say this to, you know, up church, you know, to everyone at up church, especially when we were in person, because you know, when they would come and they would experience the music and it would just be some transcendent, you know, Mikhail would have sang, Noriko would have played her heart out, Chad would have drummed his heart out. I mean, it would just been like, you, after the song is finished, you just sitting back like, that was amazing. And what I want people to get is that you couldn't see it if it were not you. You can't see what's not alive inside of you. You can't see it's as if it doesn't exist. Take, for example, Lessons in Truth is one of those books that when you first touch Lessons in Truth, there are things that are in that book that you just completely miss. And you go back to that text a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're like, I do not remember that.
Right.
And so you really think somebody has gone and re-edited this book that was published in the early 1900s because you have no recollection of reading some of the material that you ran across.
Right.
If it's not in you, you can't see it. So the excellence that we see in others that we admire is actually excellence that is inside of us. It may not yet be fully awakened, meaning we may not be fully present to it, but the fact that we can see it means that it's there for us and it's available for us. And so it's, you know, when we're in those spaces and we're experiencing someone's, you know, when they're in their zone of genius, it's drink it all in because what you're seeing is yourself. On page 84, he says, one last point on this matter. The vivid vision is like the 10 Commandments in that it is set in stone. The only time it should ever change is if there is literally a massive and unexpected industry transformation, or if your company is going through a 90-degree pivot. Or if a global financial crisis strikes and your world gets turned upside down, or if your building collapses. Otherwise, remember that you are like a ship crossing the ocean, tacking left and tacking right and dodging icebergs when necessary, but always you move in the same general direction. Don't worry if a few sentences seem moot along the way, just let them be. This document is a beacon of light, safely guiding your crew. So this is, you're not deciding whether or not you are working toward the vivid vision based on outer evidence. You are working toward the vivid vision because this is where the Spirit said that you should go. Constance says, yeah, I always say to the women, reflections for what they see in me is in them. Yes, 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 yes. So no, well, I'll use this example. So for years, I would work out or try to change my diet, or like I never cracked that code. And this year, I started out because I was someone, the way I define myself is that I'm the type of person that works out every day. And then I went through a season where I didn't work out at all. And I was like, okay, well, that's a problem. And so this year, 2021, I said, I'm working out every day, no matter what, even if it's just 5 minutes. And I'm working out every day, regardless of the results that I get. And for 7 months, 7 long, if I would sit with you, I'd use another colorful word. 7 long months, nothing moved. My clothes didn't get better. It was like, what gives? But my commitment was that I would not quit. And in July, at the end of June, July, I stumbled across some information that changed the paradigm, changed the information that I had about how you manage the body. And all of a sudden I went from no movement to releasing more than, I'm getting close to the release of 40 pounds and keep going. And so this is what I mean by the vivid vision, that the vision is that I'm going to reach for the vision regardless of the outcome. I'm not looking for especially the immediate outcome. I'm not looking for the outcome to determine the intensity with which I reach for the vision. So as you build your vivid vision, there may be a season where you're reaching for, through your actions, the things that are in your document, but you're not getting what I would call meaningful results. And it is in that moment that you have to resolve for yourself, whatever part of the vision you're working on, that I'm going to do something every day, even if it's a little thing, no matter what.
Yeah, and that's why I like that the threes, like the 3-year vision, the 3-month check-in, is because we live in such a instant gratification world that you can get easily discouraged. I mean, I'm one of those people that gets easily discouraged, like, I did it. It didn't work, forget this, I'm gonna do something else, or I'm just gonna give up,
Right.
But I like the idea of him saying, like, set a 3-year vision, and how he described how he came up with the number 3, like not too, it's kind of like the Goldilocks, right? Not too long, not too short, but it's enough time for you to like actually have those mistakes, right? And still make it there. Like, because if you make it too short, if you mess up, then you will miss. If you make it too long, like you said, you forget about it because it's so far in the future that who remembers? But yeah, that's why I like that 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes, 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 yes. He says on page, so I'm in the chapter on external rollout. So this is when you begin to talk to other people. So if you're working with this personally, then I would think of chapter 7 on the internal rollout as selling it to yourself. But this is assuming that you have built belief, right? You've built belief to the point that you're ready to talk to other people about it. And so now, so here's the thing. the vision is always meant to incorporate other people supporting you on the vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a vision if you can accomplish it by yourself. It does just, it's not, if you can fulfill all the pieces, then that's not a big enough vision.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we're organized here on earth is that we work together in relationships. It would be a really hard life if I had to pick the cotton, do whatever they do to turn it into fabric. I don't even know the process. Okay. Sew the fabric to make the clothes. If I had to farm the food, I had to plant the seed, harvest the seed, kill the chicken, kill the whatever, and I don't want to offend any vegetarians. But y'all know what I mean. Okay. Don't send me hate mail because I'm not a vegetarian. But you would get nothing done. Mm-hmm. And I also had to like chop down the tree to get the wood, to turn it into the logs that then created the cabin. That our lives are meant to be lived in relationship. We move forward as a species through cooperation, through working together, through exchange. And so each part of us, each one of us picks a part of the culture, if you will, that we're going to be responsible for. So one of the things that I've raised my hand for is for spiritual development, right? I raised my hand to say, hey, I'm going to be one of the people that runs down this road, that studies spirituality and the things of spirit to understand it in a way that I can impart it to other people. And somebody else says, you know what? I love cooking. I'm going to run down this road. I'm going to learn all the things. I'm going to experiment with different things. I'm going to experiment with putting together different kinds of foods and spices. And this is the part I'm going to handle. And somebody else says, you know what? I am really into fashion. I'm going to run down this road and figure out how to put clothes together that really make people look good. So everybody's raising their hand for a certain part. And no one is handling all of the parts. So your vision, if it can be accomplished by you alone, that's not the vision. If it can be, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's interesting to me is thinking about when people normally do share their vision, right? And a lot of times people share their vision, but because they want validation, right? And they want somebody to help bolster their belief. And what we're saying here tonight is, no, strengthen your belief first so you can enlist people to help you bring the vision to life.
Yes.
Whereas I think typically what people do, and I'll include myself in this, as someone has done this before, is I'll have the vision, like let's say losing weight, like, I want to lose, 30 pounds. So I'm going to tell my girlfriends, because hopefully they'll also think I can do it too. As opposed to knowing that I'm going to lose 30 pounds and telling them, hey, Shaniqua, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. And so therefore, the expectation I would have of her is to do things that support me in that, as opposed to, yeah, girl, if you say so,
Yes.
That's the difference from what I'm seeing, is that you want to build this army of people that are going to help drive you towards that destination.
Yes. Yes.
As opposed to people that aren't even really bought in at all, you know?
And they're not bought in because you're not bought in.
Right.
Remember, people are always a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
People are always a mirror for our belief. And the deeper our belief is, we will begin to bring people into our experience who also believe.
Mm-hmm.
Constance, you said, reminds me of Living Truth Center's vision and long-term vision. Absolutely amazing that I'm saying It's not Living Truth Center. Give me the name, Constance.
Light of Truth Center.
Light of Truth. Yeah, I'm blanking on it. Apologies for that. Why don't you tell us what Light of Truth is? Because
Yes, I don't know what that is.
yeah.
Light of Truth Center is a center for women who are recovering from drugs and alcohol. And in the beginning, it was Vale had this long-term vision where she saw other houses, where she saw people coming in and serving, where she saw a business hub. It was just amazing that now after 22 years, everything seems to be falling into place. But as it continued to grow, there were challenges, and just amazing the way that the course of the years have grown us, really, because every challenge that came along with the women or with finances, it was for a learning time. Because in order to learn how to do the finances or learn how to react and live with the other women, we needed to know how to do it. So stuff would come up and we would just be like, oh my God, but LTC is love-based. We have a, a training video that we now do because it is love-based, and what that means. Just absolutely amazing. So I can see where if the vision is, like you said, Reverend Sherri, for one person, then that's not a vision. It's a goal.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to have to expand my vision.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. Y'all give me all kind of stuff that show up in a sermon soon. If you can be accomplished by one person, it's not a vision, that's a goal. That's good. I like that. Hopefully I had the president of mine say, Constance said that. Thank you. And you guys are a nonprofit, right? Constance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's the website so that we can tell people about it?
www.lightoftruthcenter.org.
Okay, lightoftruthcenter.org.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, great. So you guys go and visit that and support that. They're doing amazing work. And you're Baltimore proper?
Yes.
Okay, Baltimore. Baltimore is what they say.
Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
He says that, so this is the external rollout. So you're at the place where you have built your belief in it, and now you're ready to tell other people about it. And he says that you want to introduce your vivid vision to them by saying, this is what our company is going to look like in the near future. We all recognize it doesn't look like this today, but this is us leaning out 3 years ahead, describing what it looks, acts, and feels like. He says that you'll want to roll out your vivid vision to happen simultaneously with everyone. This is done with email blasts, a post on the company website, newsletters, press conferences, journalist pitches, flyers, bullhorns, stopping people on the street. Okay, there may be a limit to how far you go to get the message out, but definitely err on the side of too much information rather than not enough. You are enrolling people in the vision, and you are taking it out. You have built your belief, so you ain't worried about the person that is a detractor or doesn't believe in it. And you are selling people on where it is that you are going. And you want to, you're being bold with it. Again, if this were a company, you've built the belief because you've shared it with all the people internally. So you've got the whole team on your side. But the same thing in yourself, you have sold yourself on it so that your team of thoughts are now on your side. And so now you can take this out to, if you have a business, the venture capitalists. you can take this out to a vendor that you might work with to help you with publicity. If you hired a PR person, or if you hired a social media specialist, that you can roll this out and enroll people in the vision. And what you will find is that what you have going on, people will begin to believe in, and they can see where you're going. And they may have ideas about what you should be doing right now in order to achieve whatever that vision is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's people, everybody has a purview that they're looking at, the lens that they're looking at life through. And so okay, so I'm getting ready to roll out this new course, Manifesting Money, which I'm really excited about. This is a course that I taught years ago. I'm rolling it out. I'm making it fresh and brand new. I've got some new content that I'm adding to it. And I was asked by my social media specialist how I wanted to price the course. And I was like, oh, I have no idea. Like, I'm not even sure how I want to do that. So I reached out to a friend of mine who also does courses, and I just asked her, hey, I'm working with this, I'm thinking about this, what do you think about it? And because of the lens that she's looking at life through, she was like, oh, well, this is what Mel Robbins is doing, this is what Bob Proctor is doing, this is what, like, she's in that world thinking about it, and she's able to say, well, here's what I see them doing, here are the choices that I see them making, but this is probably where you want to sit. Mm-hmm. And so again, enrolling people in the vision. Mm-hmm. I'm not meant to know everything. I'm meant to have the vision and have the audacity to roll it out to other people. She says the key is to continually send it to people so that everybody can see what you're building, where you're going, and what it looks like. What ends up happening is these outside parties play a role in your vision as they contribute and conspire to make it come true. There is no point in making plans for the future if you don't know what the future looks like. That's a bar right there. And because you want others to include you in their future plans, it's imperative that you always try to remind people of what the future looks like. It's just like orienting yourself in the wilderness. It's crucial to keep looking at the map to check your current location and to look at the way you intend to go. The same is true of the vivid vision. It is a map of your future. Any thoughts on that? Feedback. I don't know if you guys ever saw, and I should have looked for this before I pulled up tonight. There was I think a TED Talk. I think it was a TED Talk about how an idea spreads. And it was a video of a guy at like an outdoor festival. And for a period of time, he is just jamming, like he is all by himself, just jamming. And people are walking by looking at him like, some are pointing at him kind of laughing. But he keeps going. He's just, like just jamming. And then somebody else comes and starts jamming with him. Now there's two people doing, jamming, getting their groove on, moving, bopping. And something happens where a third person and a fourth person walk up almost at the same time. Now it's four people, and now they got a whole rhythm section going with the four of them. And then it just it's like a gathering storm. And after a while, there's a whole cluster of a good 40 or 50 people all dancing, but it started with this one guy. And that's how ideas spread. And so that's what he's talking about here on where is it? On page 94. He says, often getting others to see your organization as you see it is a matter of perseverance. An example of that is evident in a video that went viral, which I enjoy sharing with people as an illustration of the power of one person's ideas. It is from the Sasquatch. Oh, well, there you go. It is from the Sasquatch Music Festival from several years back. One guy danced by himself, not in a sad way. He seemed happy enough, but he was all alone. He danced for about 30 seconds while people stood around watching him. A minute later, he was still dancing alone as a crowd gathered on a huge grass hillside to watch. No one joined, but he kept dancing. After a while, another guy finally decided to join. Now there were two guys dancing around with people on the hillside watching. Then another guy joined, so there were three dancers. Moments later, people ran down the hillside to join this little group of dancing guys. Thousands upon thousands of people danced around the guy who just minutes before danced alone. A tipping point had occurred, and suddenly everyone's thinking changed. That's what you're working on with this. So after you have built your belief, and I'm gonna try to find it while I'm sitting there. After you have built your belief, festival dancing, yeah, that's it. So apparently everybody Googles this. Yeah, okay, hold on. So after you have built your belief, then it is time for you to roll it out to the to those other people to enroll them in the vision. All right, let me share this. I think this is the one. Yeah, okay, well, somebody used it in a TED Talk. Okay, that's right. So let's look at the 3-minute one.
Attracting new customers has been tricky.
So we claimed our free business profile on Google.
Yeah, now we can accept bookings, list our products, even post updates.
Our free business profile helps us stand out and connect with customers on Google.
So that's the vision. That's crazy. Isn't it crazy? And I love that somebody caught it. But my point is that as you are selling the vision, that there's that season where you're dancing alone, or maybe you only have one person dancing with you. And your job is to dance your dance until the folks start running down the hillside to be a part of what you are doing. And they will come, but you're going to have that perseverance. People want direction. So much of our lives is spent without direction, meaning that we get into jobs, we start families, we get busy with the doing of life. And no one, we're so busy with the doing of life that we simply don't have time to come apart and build a vivid vision. And so for those of us that are making this time, that are making that investment in ourselves, What we want to begin to do once we have built that belief in ourselves where we're rock solid, we're like that guy on the hillside. I'm gonna dance whether you dance with me or not. My belief in what I'm dancing for and how I'm dancing is so strong that I could care less that you are watching me and judging me. I'm gonna dance my dance because I got this.
Yeah.
Is to keep moving, and the people who are meant to enroll in your vision as you begin to roll it out and share with people will begin to come on board. People want direction. People want to be a part of something special, and they don't always know how to tap into it for themselves. And so what they look for are leaders, not because people need to be led. I don't believe that. But so much of our world doesn't support people being leaders. And so they never learn to strike out, set that vision and go forward. And so they're willing to buy into and support someone else's vision. And it helps awaken that in them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I think that is a great place to wrap out tonight. Any questions, any other thoughts or ideas or anything from this conversation tonight that you want to take away?
No, it was a great conversation.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Constance, what about you?
Good conversation. Just makes me want it. You got to dream bigger, Constance. That's all.
Dream bigger.
Dream
That's
bigger.
it.
Mhm.
So what we're going to talk about next week, and remember, we're meeting on Wednesday the 15th, not Thursday the 16th. I had to switch, is part 4, how to make it come true. So what we've talked about is writing the vision. Then we've talked about like how to write it, how to sell it internally. Tonight, we talked about how to roll it out externally. And next week, we're going to talk about how to make it come true. Basically, now that you got the people running down the hillside and buying into the vision, how then do you mobilize them to accomplish the things that are in the document? Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Have an absolutely beautiful night, and I will see you next Wednesday night. No, is it next Wednesday? 2 Wednesdays from now, December.
2 Wednesdays.
Yes,
Yeah.
December 15th. So the homework that I would give you, the soul work that I would give you is to finish fleshing it out. Get to what feels like a finished place with the vision that you have for yourself. All right. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good night.
Have a good night, Robin.
I love and appreciate you guys. Have a great week, and I will see you next Thursday. Take care, everybody.